Howdy y'all, welcome back to another exciting episode of Science with Mr. Jacobs. I'm Mr. Jacobs, this is Science, and today we're going to be looking at different types of interactions across ecosystems. We have 5 that we're going to be looking at today, so to get us started off, we're going to start with one that I think everybody pretty much understands, and that's that predator-prey interaction. This is that eating interaction. This is when we see one organism hunt and feed on another organism. That could be like a lion taking down a gazelle in the savannah. That could be our bunny rabbit taking down the grass that we've used in so many of our examples. This could be you in the lunchroom taking down your lunch. Predator-prey interaction. Our next one is competition. And a competition is when you have multiple organisms that are going after the exact same resource, and they're going to end up fighting over it. Now you can end up fighting over food, resources to eat that you need to live. I believe one of the videos that we watched had 2 bears both fighting for salmon, going after the salmon. That's a resource. It could be for a resource for space. Those of you that have siblings know how much competition for space can be. In the natural world, we often see this where certain wolf packs have their own territory that they claim as their own. And they pretty much stick to their own territory. They fought for that space to maintain their domain. And the last type of competition that we typically see is that competition for a mate. So that way their genetic traits can get passed on down to the next generation, and that population can start all over again. It's that circle of life. So that competition is when 2 or more organisms going for that same resource. We're now at the part of our interactions where we're going to have 2 different species. Mutualism, commensalism, and parasitism are all in a group of interactions that we called symbiotic relationships. Now, these symbiotic relationships, some of them are going to end up being good for both parties. Some are going to end up being kind of not really affecting one and good for the other. And then the other is where we're going to have a good and a bad happening. So we'll start off with the positives because I'm a positive person and that's where I like to start off with. In a mutualism interaction, mutualism, the base word mutual means together, 2 like things that we have in common. So mutualism, both parties are going to end up benefiting. One of the examples that I know that we've used, there's this crab that allows mosses to grow on top of it and allows algae to grow on top of it. And what that does is that causes the crab to have this great camouflage that allows it to hide, while the organism, the plant, gets protection from the crab, from all the other organisms that could come out and try to harm that plant. So the 2, crab and the algae, working together, mutualism, they're both benefiting from this. Another example of this, if you've gone to the zoo before and you've seen like where the mama monkey is picking the bugs off the baby monkey and eating them, that's a mutualistic interaction because the baby monkey is getting cleaned while mama's getting a snack. Mutualism. Positives for both. They both benefit. Our next one, commensalism. This one is tricky because this is where one animal just does its normal thing. It's not affected at all. It's just doing its normal thing. It's not affected. And then that magically somehow ends up benefiting our other organism. This could be in the case of a fox digs a hole. It's digging a hole. Well, fox leaves the hole, it's not coming back, and maybe a meerkat ends up taking that hole and using it as a den. So now our tiny little meerkat has a home that benefits it, and the fox is unaffected because the fox was just digging in it left a hole. Another example of this, there could be a cow walking through a field of grass. As that cow walks through the field of grass just doing cow things, that could cause insects on the grasses to get kicked up, to become visible. That could allow that bird that's off in the distance that's waiting on the tree branch, looking down, and it's been looking for ants. It's been looking for those insects. Since the cow walks by, those insects get sprung up. That bird now has an easier time going in and getting its food. That's a commensalism interaction, because the cow just did cow things. The cow just did cow things. It's not affected at all. That bird, though, got benefited. So this is kind of where we have like a neutral and a positive interaction taking place. Mutualism, we ended up with a positive and a positive. Commensalism, we're going with a neutral and a positive. Neutral. Because as I was looking at to our next one, parasitism. This stems from different parasites. And if you guys remember when we played our deer game, we had a whole bunch of those weird parasites and ticks that I made up for the sake of the game. In parasitism, we end up having the host is going to get harmed, whereas the parasite is going to end up being benefited. So this is that good and bad one. So this is that that positive or the plus sign with that negative, or it's being harmed. The easiest one that's easy to relate to is if you've ever been bitten by a mosquito. Mosquitoes are parasites. They take our blood, that harms us, and it helps them. They could be leaving other germs and other infections on us. Parasitism, it's when one benefits while it's harming the other. These are our 5 different types of interactions that we'll be talking about, that we've kind of gone over in class so far. As always, you guys are rock stars. And if you feel like you learned something, or you just had a good time listening to me talk, feel free to smash that like button down below. You guys rock. Have a good day.